Hello everyone, David here, inventor of the ForcedG.R.I.T magnetic sanding system and owner of My Automotive Refinishing Specialist Corporation. We will be walking through a complete repair from initial damage for filler, paint, and the results of the final paint finish. I'm here to show you how this works in a real-world repair. This system was built to solve problems like uneven sanding, consistent paper swapping, burn-throughs, and wasted time. So let's get into it. We've already applied and cured the filler to save time for the video. The repair is fully cured and ready to sand. I'm applying a strip of 180 grit sandpaper to the medium-sized magnetic sanding block. We also offer a 4-inch block for smaller areas and a 8-inch block for larger repairs. When installing the paper, make sure it wraps cleanly around the radius if you're working on curved panels. I set the dial to setting 3. Setting 3 on our product always represents the true grit of the sandpaper you're using. In this case, P180 grit performs as a true P180 under the settings of number 3. Before sanding any repair, you want to always check the panel. Check the damage, check for any highs or lows after you have done your metal. We grinded it to bare metal to the repair zone and feathered the surrounding paint area. I just applied guide coat. This highlights highs and lows during the blocking process. With P180 on the block, I can increase aggressiveness by adjusting the dial. When I increase the magnetic pole using setting number 1, the 180 can cut closer to a 120 or 150 grit performance for faster shaping. That's the advantage. You get stronger cut action when needed without changing paper. Notice that I am not forcing pressure. This is a pull versus a push process. You're not applying pressure, it's applying its own pressure. The magnet draws the block flat to the panel. It keeps the surface parallel automatically. This is important. The tool focuses on the high areas first. It doesn't prematurely dig into the lows. That prevents unnecessary oversanding and keeps the repair controlled. This particular type of process is also very, very good for cutting out sags and runs out of clear coat. It will always focus on the first 2 mils of clear coat, keeping the base coat protected. This process we'll show in another video. As you can see, I'm checking where my highs and lows are so I know where to focus and where I don't need to focus. This will keep the material balanced and will keep us from having to re-wipe this repair. And when you can eliminate re-wiping, that saves you time. And also it saves you money on extra materials. As you can see, this particular sanding is very different. Going up and down and cross back and forth, you can move any and all directions because the device is performing the same way no matter which angle you're sanding. That makes changing positions very easy. As you can see, as I work this panel, I'm crisscross the blocking and making horizontal and vertical passes, allowing the guide code to tell me what's happening. The block now, as you will need to understand, it's self-correcting to repair as I sand because of the pull force, and the repair is coming along very nicely. The closer I get to the metal, the stronger the block gets because of the magnetic pull. The closer it gets to the metal repair, it gets stronger. Normally, at this particular moment, you are required to push harder, and at this time, this is where fatigue starts to kick in. But with our system, it gets stronger as more material is being cut away from the repair. So the closer it gets, the harder it works, and the less you have to. With our system, it isn't required for you to force damage away. Just even swipe, even sanding, controlled sanding. Eventually it comes down to the level that the repair needs to be. You just let it do the work it needs to do. While we have a moment, let's discuss very quickly about traditional methods versus the ForcedG.R.I.T magnetic sanding method. If you've been in collision repair long enough, you already know the traditional process. You grab the block, you grab your paper, you start cutting with 80 or 180, then you switch paper, then you switch again, and again. Every stage means stopping, peeling paper, grabbing another grit, lining it up, getting back into it. And during this process, you're managing pressure manually. You're trying to stay flat. You're trying not to dig an edge. You're trying not to burn through. Traditional blocking depends upon almost entirely on hand pressure and experience. If your pressure is uneven, the panel becomes uneven. High spots get overcut, low spots get chased, edges get burned, and if you're not careful, you're repriming. That's time, that's material, and that's money. Now, let's compare that to ForcedG.R.I.T. With ForcedG.R.I.T, the magnetic field helps stabilize the block to the panel. It naturally wants to stay flat. You're not fighting the surface anymore. Instead of swapping paper consistently, you adjust the dial. The same sheet of paper can cut more aggressively or refine more lightly depending on the setting. Start strong, dial it down, finish smooth. No paper swapping, no breaking momentum, no unnecessary scratches that you have to fix later. Traditional sanding creates deeper scratches when you step down in grit. ForcedG.R.I.T lets you control aggression without introducing a whole new scratch profile every time. That means less refining, less rework, less chance of burning through. And that's the real difference. Traditional methods rely on muscle memory and pressure control. ForcedG.R.I.T adds control, magnetic stabilization to the equation. It doesn't replace skill, it enhances it. You still read the panel, you still cross block, you still use your hands and your eyes, but now the tool is working with you. In traditional repair, if you get aggressive, you risk cutting too much. With ForcedG.R.I.T, aggression is controlled and adjustable. And in a production environment, that means that matters. Because when you spend less time blocking, avoid repriming, reduce sandpaper swaps, prevent burn-throughs, you turn repairs faster. And when you turn repairs faster, you turn more tickets. More tickets without adding hours to your day means stronger paychecks. That's not hype. That's workflow efficiency. Traditional sanding works. We've all used it. ForcedG.R.I.T refines it. More control, more consistency, more productivity. That's the difference. At this point, you want to run your hands across the repair. You shouldn't feel where the repair starts or it stops. It should transition naturally into the panel. If I feel a slight high, I correct it immediately. Here I'm checking for the overlay of materials. That commonly happens when you're doing your white process. The material will roll up underneath or on the side or edges. Again, we're doing a finalization right now. We're letting the block pressure control the grip performance without us having to change the grip. Once the surface feels even and consistent, we're ready to move towards primer. So at this point, we'll get it primed and we'll get it prepped for priming. One thing this device is very good for is evening out the highs and filling the lows automatically. There is no re-wiping required. Again, this speeds up the flow. You're able to move to the next phase very quickly. You're spending less time on the repair and creating more time to get more tickets. Right now we're doing a DA process. We're using a 320 to eliminate any outside scratches that may have appeared during the blocking process. This is great for the overlay of the primer. Definitely gives the primer something consistent to lay across. Allowing it to have a smooth, clean transition. Now, let's be clear about something. On non-metal panels, plastic bumper covers, fiberglass, or aluminum without a metal backing, the magnetic system is not active. That means the dial adjustment is not effective in those situations. The dial works by increasing or decreasing magnetic pull. If there's no magnetic surface to react to, the dial will not change the cutting performance. So, on non-metal panels, the system functions as a precision sanding block, not as a magnetic adjustable system. And that's important to understand. There's no hidden feature, there's no artificial performance claim. If there's no magnetic engagement, the block behaves like a well-balanced flat sanding block. However, and this is where it matters, the experience you gain using it on steel panels carries over. When you've worked with magnetic stabilization, your hands learn what even pressure feels like, how it stayed flat, how to avoid digging edges, how to let the paper cut naturally. The muscle memory doesn't disappear just because the panel isn't magnetic. So while the dial is inactive or non-metal surfaces, the technique you've developed still applies. And that's where the value continues. Steel panels, perfect. Full magnetic stability and adjustable grit performance. Non-metal panels, precision blocking with trained hands. The system doesn't magically change physics, but it is absolutely changes how a technician approaches sanding. And that improvement carries into every repair, magnetic or not. On any of the adjacent panels. Right now we want to clean this panel. We want to make sure that we don't have any type of contamination. We don't want to overlay our primer on any type of contamination that's going to possibly show up later on during the paint process. And at this time, you want to check for any little imperfections. What I am doing with the block now is I'm setting it at its strongest point. And we're going to fine tune a particular part of the area. And again, this is still our 180 sandpaper. And now I'm using it as around 140 grit performance. Now I'm switching it back to 180 for a very clean, quick transition. Now I'm going past 180. I'm going more towards a 200, 220 performance. And all of this is done without changing the sandpaper. And you want to follow that process because it's just like as if you were switching sandpapers. You're eliminating previous scratches from the previous performance. With our magnetic sanding device, we're able to speed this part of the process up tremendously. This is what helps cut back on the time it takes to repair your panels. Now we're going to do a quick clean to make sure we don't have any contaminations. We use a wax and grease remover. This works really well. You never want to seal contamination in the primer. Contaminants often don't show up until base coat or clear coat, and the heat cycle is performed. And by then, it's too late. You always want to clean your area consistently. That makes for a happy painter. Here, we're going to apply a couple of even coats of primer, allowing the primer to flash properly. Be careful not to rush this process. You're not trying to use the primer at this point to repair. The repair is done. This is only covering your repair, combining all the layers and materials. We're not using the primer to fill anything, any low spots or high spots, even though that may show a little bit. But again, our magnetic sanding system is always flattening 100% of the time throughout all the stages. So you get a consistent performance throughout the process with our ForcedG.R.I.T magnetic sanding system. And we let that dry, and now we're going to move forward to getting it sand. We decided to go with the 4.5-inch red block and with 600 sandpaper. Now, let's keep in mind that this is a 600 sandpaper, but our grit indicator, we're able to enhance that 600, giving it more an aggressive cut by dialing in. Creating a stronger pressure. What this does is it's allowing you to use a 600 more like a 320 or a 340 without the 320 or 340 scratches. This is going to take out all your orange peel evenly. It also is going to look for any high or low spots that may have slipped by during the previous process, mainly more towards the feather edging areas. Our system is self-correcting. It self-corrects as you sand. You just guide the device where it needs to go. It doesn't matter which way you're sanding. It's good to have a pattern, but it gives you more flexibility. It allows you to sand in many different directions and at the same time getting the same results. Using the magnetic adjustment, I can dial in just smooth, controlled level. We're not cutting through primer. We're not exposing filler. We're keeping everything even. That eliminates costly repriming caused by burn-throughs. As I sand, I'm checking the texture, the highs and minor waves. Adjusting the dial lets me down progression without changing sheets. Keeping the workflow flowing without you having to leave this area in your stall. Preparing yourself for the next ticket. And as we tune in on this 600, we're dialing it to respond more like a 700, 800 performance. Gives you more flexibility that enhances your skills. And remember, if you have to restart, always start stronger and finish lighter. If you need to restart any particular area, follow the same rule. Now you can see the primer is smooth, leveled, and uniformed. No exposed filler, no uneven transitions. And your paper is still very, very good to use for the next repair. Because it cuts even and you're not applying the pressure, you're not wearing the paper out. Your paper will last a couple jobs, which helps cut back on material costs. That means less material waste, less redo work, and more efficiency. At every stage, the magnetic system reduces time and improves consistency. What you're left with is a clean, properly prepped surface ready for paint. There you have it. Just controlled sanding, smarter adjustments, and real world results. Here we're going to fine tune the outside of the repair. We're going to get it ready for the paint booth. We're finishing with 800. Now we'll get this prepped and in the paint booth. As you can see, the primer is feathered very nicely and it's ready for paint. And here's your final results. Nice clean transition of paint materials, very even and correct. Thank you for watching our video, and we hope to see you next time, and take care.